Yani taki mo sige imaat sale tam tamas mo kay taki sa parak sare sa chale sare on sare sa chale sare asan ke tinje ko sa chen sare hawe ke tinje ko sa chen sare ikla chiki damani wasai kuka chiki dili tasai ikla chiki damani wasai kuka tuje kuka chiki oke pamayan dili kanai wasai oke pamayan dili wasai ikla chiki damani wasai kuka chiki damani wasai kuka chiki dili kita sai oke pamayan kanai wasai kuka chiki damani wasai asan kadije osai asan kadije ba kubul sai asan kadije ikan jalan sai para kasai sai oi na sai sai
Hello, and thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world. It is a pleasure to have you here, and we have a beautiful program lined up for you. First, we're going to start by introducing you to the team. Christelle is in Mexico and will be helping to take care of your questions on the live stream, so don't hesitate to interact there. She'll join us when her internet has restarted. My name is Deborah. I'm in Portugal in Western Europe, and I'm your host for the call. Team, please give us a wave, tell us who you are and where you are in the world. Ellen.
Hi, my name is Ellen. I'm in England, and I'm so excited to be part of the Global Paco Celebration team. I will be answering your questions on the YouTube live stream along with Christelle tonight. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Heidi.
Hi, I'm Heidi. I live in New Jersey in the US. And part of my role on the Global Paco Celebrations team is to keep current our Paco library. As you may know, we are compiling a library of resources on the Andean tradition from those who have helped to promote this tradition from around the world. The Paco library is located on our Facebook page in the files section. If you have worked in this tradition as an author, a teacher, an organizer, a filmmaker, and you want to share your work, please email me your information and a link to your work, and I can add it to our library. My contact information is located on the Paco library document. Thanks.
Thank you, Heidi. Carol.
I am Carol Altarejos. I currently reside in Massachusetts in the US. It's been a great joy to be part of the Global Paco Celebrations team and helping to bring these events globally through the wonders of technology. So I manage the IT support for our festivals and assist with the different aspects of the website and newsletters and design and graphics.
And a great job you make of it. Thank you, Carol. Elizabeth.
Aloha from the Big Island. This is my Paco team right here with my mate, Barney. And I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much, team. It's a joy to have you and to celebrate with you today, the Lord of Miracles and Lady of the Cloud.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We'll be seeing more of you later. And Freddie.
This is Freddie. I'm from Cusco, Peru. I'm in charge of translating Quechua, the native language, to English. Thank you.
And are you going to introduce the Pacos who will make our opening prayers?
Yeah. Lorenzo, okay. Napay kami papa. Napay kami siya man tapanay senobia napay kunka. Napayla, okay. Microfono kita kichay, okay. Microfono kita kichay.
Ya, halin jo yari kushan wai.
Ali jak na ko okay. Napariki papa.
Bueno, wai kikuna panaykuna tukuy sunquywan nuqapis napaykumaykichas desde Cusco. Mi nombre es Lorenzo Japa Pasa y de hatun maestro hatun Paco. Ichaqa kay panaykunata ancha kusisqakuna rikurishani. Panay Ilsa Wishinkians y Hinaliata también Diura, Elin, panaykunata ancha kusisqakunapas tukuy sunquywan napaykumuni. Gracias.
From the depth of his heart, he welcomes to all of you in this festivity, and he's very happy to be here. His name is Lorenzo from Kero community. He's a Paco as well. Welcomes as well to all those who are present on this screen, like Elizabeth and all of us who we are in this screen. Zenobia Panay.
Buenas tardes, Nesta Toray. Mukatak Totitak, Zenobia Cruz Condori. Kanetak ni Ukungati Autangati Manda.
Her name is Zenobia Cruz Condori. She represents to the Ausangate area, Okongate, Ausangate area. She lives in this community at the foothills of these sacred mountains. So she's very happy to be here and great to all of us we are present in the celebration.
Beautiful. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you, Zenobia, for bringing us the welcome and the opening blessings for this online gathering. The role of celebrations and festivities is honoured in all societies around the world. And at this time when there are restrictions on gathering in person, we are really discovering the power of coming together online. At this time of year in Lima, Peru, two festivities would take place. One, a celebration of the Lord of Miracles, the other, the Virgin of the Cloud. These two energies can be understood from the Kero perspective as a Yanantin, a harmonious relationship of difference. So our gathering will explore and celebrate that powerful union in several ways. We start with 6 speakers sharing their understanding of the nature and power of harmonizing energy and some personal perspectives of the times we're in. We then go back to Cusco to meet 3 Kero couples who weave these threads together through their lives, their family, and their work. This is a unique opportunity to experience their understanding directly. After that, Elizabeth will lead us in the global Paco Ops, our worldwide weaving of energy in line with the theme of harmonizing difference. The Kero will then share with us a traditional dance celebrating the joys of encounter, and finally, Carol will wrap up the call. So let's dive in. It is my very great pleasure and honor to introduce my teacher in this tradition and the man who has done more than anyone, along with his son Ivan, to bring the knowledge, the understanding, and the practices of the Inca people into our modern world. Don Juan Núñez del Prado, thank you so much for joining us today. Please share with us the historical context of this occasion.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be with you, with all of you, especially with our Kero brothers and sisters, and with all the team. Anyway, this is a real nice discovery. We can be together, even being so far, and we can meet with more people than usual through the net than in person. Anyway, as you know, one of the most knowledgeable person about the spiritual development is Dr. Carl Jung. And he made the statement about how the psyche, personal and collective, is a historical byproduct. What's the meaning of that? Your psyche, mine, and the collective psyche of the United States or Peru is made through history. And every important factor in this collective or personal psyche is the result of a spiritual event. Now we are celebrating in Lima, the Virgin of the Cloud and the Lord of the Miracles, and this is a Yanantin. But the origin of that happened long ago. As far we can see, the first time in which we are really certain the Yanantin emerged in the Andean tradition is the time of the Middle Horizon, and starting with Tiahuanaco. As you know, the Tiahuanaco civilization rise in the area of the Titicaca Lake and spread for first time in the Andean tradition to the jungle, the Andean area, and the coast. And through the coast, they go north. They go north and they arrive to the place in which today is Lima City. And they found there a local tradition. And in this local tradition, they were worshiping a god which was called Pachacama. And there were a waka of Pachacama. And the divinity who was there was male and female together and connected by the back. If you remember, there is one specific exercise in which we do a Yanachaku in that way, even today. But this was the first time in which this Andean civilization, Tiahuanaco, arrived to the coast, and in the coast, the local people speak Quechua. There is a lot of people who think Quechua is from Cusco or from the Andean region. No, Quechua is originally from the area of Lima. What happened? The language keep power of the meanings this kind of language can transmit. And of course, Pachacama was in Quechua. It was originally for these people, and these people were connected with what is an archetype, a collective archetype, which is the royal couple following Jungian tradition. When a person or a collective group meet with an archetype, a lot of psychic energy is liberated. And this is what happened. And this psychic energy empowered the language, and the language triggered a new style of civilization, which was not Tiahuanaco anymore, was Wari. And the Wari civilization spread to the Andean area into the region of Ayacucho, and then spread to the south into the region of Moqueo. Anyway, this was the beginning. As you know, the Incas was the result of the blending of Tiahuanacos and Waris. And this is the way in which the Incas received the heritage of the Yanantin, or the archetype of the royal couple. Then the Incas spread, and they refound the waka of Pachacama, and they restart the worshipping in that waka, and was one of the four main wakas of the Inca Empire. The first was Tiahuanaco, the second was Huiracocha, the third was Pachacama, and the fourth was in waka in the north, which is the Kong. The Tawantin were made by these four wakas. Then the conquest happened, and of course it was a terrible clash, as you know. And after the clash, there was a reaction of the Andean people. This reaction was the Taquioncoy movement, which was the returning back of the Wakas, was a reaction against the Spaniards. And there were an awakening of Wakas, and one of the Wakas which was awake was Tiahuanaco, or the Titicaca Waka, and the second who was awake was the Waka of Pachacama. Then there were a repression, which was known as the extirpation of idolatries, And the Spaniards persecuted the prophets of this movement, the movement of the Taquión. And they take the priests of Pachacama as prisoners and put them in the neighborhood of the city, which was known as Pachacamilla, the little Pachamama, Pachacama. And in Pachacamilla was the rise of the first image of the Lord of the miracles, which is now the saint patron of Lima. Then, at the same time, probably emerged worshiping to the Virgin Mary in another sanctuary, which is the sanctuary of the Virgin of the Clouds in Ecuador. We don't know exactly how it rise, but supposed to be simultaneous. And I don't know how, but it happened. And the image of the Lord of the miracles were put in the back, the image of the Virgin of the Cloud. And this is the way in which is shown today in a procession. As you can see, there is a long continuity for the first time of the Pachacama society in Lima, the rising of Quechua, and then the rising of the royal couple. Ivan, please.
Thank you. Well, not everybody knows that the prophecy of the returning back of the Inca okay. Not many people knows that the prophecy of the returning back of the Inca was discovered by my grandfather in 1955. And this prophecy is amazing. It's the expectation of the returning back of the enlightened couple to our world, the manifestation of the enlightenment in the couple. And during this very specific process, because our prophets were very specific in the very precise steps of the manifestation of this new time and this new quality of human being, it says that in the first place, they are going to be manifested what we call the fifth level people, which are perfect healers. So in a sequence, they are going to come and they're going to be three men who are going to manifest and meet one after the other. But what gathers us now is the fourth step, which is very important for us. In the fourth step of the prophecy, a couple is going to be recognized, manifest the quality. And the prophecy says that one man who is going to be recognized in the sanctuary of Pachacamilla in Lima is going to meet a woman who will come from the north, from Ecuador, from the sanctuary of the Virgin of the Clouds, and they together are going to be recognized and honored in Lima as a Yanantin of the fifth level. So that's why for us Yanantin is so important. It's been in the basement of the construction, the very core of all the Inca tradition and the Inca Empire, but is also in our prophecy. It's going to be important and key part of the manifestation of the new times. So Aini is the base of the most important value for us, the reciprocity, and the expression of Aini, the action of the Aini can evolve through time. The basic kind of Aini is called Masintin. Masintin is when you interact with somebody who is like you. It is the natural way of interacting. When you are within your family, it's natural to interchange with them because you are the same kind. You are just like one. So between your close family, it's normal to do that. Without any effort, you are going to start to interchange with the ones you are very close to and intimate to. Something that is not natural, but it requires effort, is to build a Yanantin. A Yanantin is a relationship with somebody who is not like you, but doesn't mean to be opposite. It's somebody who is just different. And to build a relationship of interchange, of Aini with somebody who is not like you requires more effort. requires decision. So you have to commit with that. You have to invest more energy into interchanging with that person. You have to be focused and careful. You have to be respectful. So then you can build the Yanantin. But both the relation of Masintin of equals and Yanantin of difference are very important for us because they are the practical aspect of the Aini. Be in a relationship. When you make a Masintin, you can improve your relationship with somebody like you to a very high level. And then this Masintin relationship can become holy. A holy Masintin alliance is called Ranti, which means perfect equivalent, almost interchangeable. With somebody who is like you can improve your connection to the point that you are going to be and behave like if you will be the same person, perfectly equivalent one to the other. Yanantin instead, the relationship among difference is something that can be also developed. It is not just a connection, it can become an interchange, a continuous interchange. In that way, become an alliance of Yanantin. If you develop this Yanantin and you emphasize the differences to the point that they will become perfectly complementary to each other, then this becomes holy too. So the holy kind of Yanantin, the perfect Yanantin, is called Hapu. Okay, for us is also a very high achievement to be able to build that. So in our life, some of the most important goals of our life are to build Yan Aini, reciprocity, to build Masintin, connection with the ones like us, and make it perfect, very high, to make it holy, and eventually the big goal for us is to be able to build Yanantin and to arrive to make it holy, to make Hapu. That can be set for us as the goals of our life according to our tradition. So Yanantin is about that. Requires a lot of effort. And we're going to share with you our private and personal example for Yanantin. Cecilia, my wife, is with us today. And when we met, it was a very Yanantin relationship. We were introduced by a common friend, and our first impression was we dislike each other. Really, we didn't like each other. And then in that moment when we just met, the probabilities to spend our life together were zero. And we started from there. Okay, so we start to build our Yanantin. And now we can tell you 25 years after that our Yanantin is working. And we are planning to keep building it for probably the rest of our life. That's how can it go. So now I'm going to give you my Yanantin, Cecilia, who is going to share with you her point of view on this.
Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo están? Yo soy Cecilia, esposa de Iván, y les voy a contar, lo que quiero compartir con ustedes, es cómo creamos y cómo vivimos nuestro Yanantin.
Hello, everybody. I am Cecilia. I'm married with Iván, and what I want to share with you is how our Yanantin process in life went.
Y para poderles mostrar gráficamente esta experiencia, la he dividido en 3 momentos.
So to really show you graphically how our Yanantin was built and made, I divide our experience in 3 moments.
El primero va a ser el inicio de nuestro Yanantin. El segundo momento va a ser la construcción del Yanantin. Y el tercer momento va a ser el mantenimiento del Yanantin.
So I can tell that first was our beginning, the start. Then our second moment was to build our Yanantin. And then our third moment was to maintain the Yanantin. And this is still now.
Bien. Cuando nosotros comenzamos a conocernos, como bien dijo Iván, fue una relación fue un inicio un poco accidentado, porque en nuestro caso el amor a primera vista no funcionó.
Our starting point was nothing like love at first sight, as Ivan told you before. So we didn't like each other at the beginning.
Comenzando siendo dos personas totalmente diferentes, sin ningún gusto por el otro.
We started like two different people without any interest really in the other.
Entonces ustedes se preguntarán, ¿qué oportunidad tienen dos personas desiguales en forjar un futuro juntos?
So you may ask yourself, what is the chance of two people who are nothing like the other of creating a future together?
Bueno, existen muchas oportunidades porque al no haber unas ganas de conquistar al otro, nos presentamos de una forma auténtica, tal como éramos.
Our process started in an interesting way because not being interested in each other, we start and we show ourselves exactly as we were.
Y aquí comienza la etapa de la construcción.
Here is when our building of the Yanantin starts.
Nosotros pertenecíamos a un grupo común de amigos de la universidad.
When we were at the university, we belonged to a group of friends. We have common friends.
Entonces decidí prestar mucha atención y escuchar cómo era el mundo de Iván.
And I decided to try to understand how Ivan's world was. So I started to pay attention to his ways.
De una manera muy consciente.
In a very conscious way, and I made the decision to look for it.
Fue entonces que me encontré primero con el Aini, porque me di cuenta que Iván también prestaba atención a mi mundo.
That's when we started making Aini, because as I was paying attention to the one worlds, Ivan was also paying attention to mine.
Entonces nos dimos cuenta que esos dos mundos diferentes podían ser complementarios.
And then we start to see how these two different worlds may be complementary.
De pronto comenzamos a ser los mejores amigos. Luego nos dimos cuenta que estábamos enamorados.
And then we become friends. Eventually we become good friends. And eventually we realize that we were in love.
Años después decidimos casarnos.
Years later, we decide to get married.
Lo interesante en esta etapa de construcción es que nunca hubo expectativas de cambiar al otro, sino de aceptarnos tal como éramos.
Probably the most important factor in the building of our Yanantin was that we didn't have the expectation to change the other, but we just accept the other as he was.
Unos años después decidimos casarnos y aquí es donde viene la etapa del mantenimiento.
And later we decide to get married, and that's when the maintenance moment starts.
A lo largo de estos 25 años juntos hemos atravesado por muchos cambios en diferentes momentos.
Through these 25 years we are together, we passed to many moments of change.
Y en cada uno de ellos hemos requerido detenernos y observarnos nuevamente y encajar de nuevo en nuestras diferencias.
And in every one of these moments of change, we have to face the challenge, watch to each other, and build a way to fit together again.
Por ejemplo, uno de esos eventos fue cuando nos convertimos en padres.
For example, one of those events, not little, is when we became parents, when Matías, our son, was born.
Entonces nos dimos cuenta que nuestras formas, nuestra idea de criar a un niño eran totalmente diferentes.
The first thing we realized was that our ideas about how to take care of children, how to be a parent, were completely different.
En ese momento tuvimos que hacer una pausa, observarnos y generar una nueva coherencia para nuestra nueva situación.
In that moment, we have to stop again, take care of the situation, and build a new coherency for our new status of being parents.
Con esto quiero mostrarles que en cada cambio importante que ha habido en nuestra vida, hemos vuelto a observarnos con mucha atención y mucha paciencia.
What I want to share with you is how in every one of these stages, we have to watch again to each other, pay attention, and have a lot of patience to be able to build the new way and build ourselves into that.
Y seguir creciendo juntos.
To be able to keep growing together.
Por lo tanto, considero que para mantener nuestro Yanantin,
so I consider that to maintain our Yanantin and be successful in that,
necesitamos una decisión diaria y constante.
We need a daily decision and be constant in keeping that decision.
Con mucho cuidado, con mucha atención y especialmente escuchándonos mutuamente.
With a lot of care, with lots of attention, and especially listening to each other.
Y una cosa muy importante es el permitirnos sorprendernos con esta persona nueva que va apareciendo con el tiempo.
Probably one of the most important things is to allow yourself to be surprised by the discovery of the new aspects of the person you have with you that are emerging and are revealing in front of you.
Y disfrutando mucho del cambio y sobre todo no olvidando el juego, no olvidar jugar y disfrutar.
And of course, to learn to enjoy the change and the transformation and never stop playing.
Muchas gracias. Ahora vamos con Elizabeth.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to give you Elizabeth.
Ooh, thank you, Cecilia. That was beautiful. A lovely description, amazing story, and very, very useful information that you got. Very useful, I think, for many people, what you've shared. Yeah, I think we relate, or I will speak for myself because Barney is going to speak for himself, of course. I really relate to the whole idea of patience. But I'm going to tell you a story that is almost the exact opposite of Ivan and Cecilia. Little did I know we have a Yanantin right in our two ways that our relationship started. For us, some of you might know this story, but I'm just going to share a very short version. Barney and I met on a singles cruise. As unbelievable as that may seem, because neither one of us in our lives ever in the world would go on a singles event ever for any reason. But it happened, and both of us were kind of encouraged by all our friends that this is something we need to go to. So I can say that for my part, in my previous relationships, I had always been unconsciously seeking someone weaker than me without really recognizing that, because of you have the illusion of control. Yes, it's an illusion. And so when I saw Barney literally from across the room on this, it was a boat. We were on a boat. The terror of that is you can't get off. So you have to be on there for 3 hours. And we saw each other across the room. I looked at him and I said, oh my God, that's a powerful man. He's very handsome. There he was in his white turtleneck and his snakeskin boots and just oozing masculine power. And I took one look and I went, oh, no, 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 no. And I turned around and I ran the other way until, and this was a 3-hour cruise that we were on with 3 decks. And so I went and was dancing with all these other people and, you know, running around on this boat. And I end up in the last 15 minutes of the cruise back to back with this guy, not knowing. And I heard his voice and it kind of went through my whole body. And I turned around and he said, would you like to dance? After a few other exchanges. And we danced and it was unlike dancing with any other person. Something was happening energetically. And this is a very short version of the story. But at the end of the cruise, he said he was going to a nightclub. Did I want to come? And I said, yes. And we went to this nightclub in San Francisco called Harry Denton's. We got on the dance floor, and as we started to dance, the entire room disappeared. There were no other people there. There was no sound. There was no one there but us. And something was happening. It was very strange. And after a while, I kind of looked up at him and I said, what happened? And he looked at me and he said, we went into a trance. And I looked at my watch and 2 hours had passed. Could have been a minute. And the dance floor was full of bodies that were crushing against us. And the music was going doom, 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 doom. But for those 2 hours, there had been no sound and no other person there. And this was a very unusual experience. And I went down to Peru a few weeks later and I talked to Juan and he said, oh yes, in the tradition, this is called kanchak. And I was like, what? What do you mean in the tradition this is called something? How is this possible? And he said, you were blinded by the light of each other's souls. And this is what it felt like. Like we were downloading each other's bubbles. And I knew things about him and he knew things about me. We didn't know how we knew. And I was waiting for the whole thing to explode and blow up in my face and disappear because I thought, oh my God, this is probably either the most magical or the absolute most dysfunctional relationship that could happen, right? And I don't know which one it is. And 23 years later, well, it turned out to be pretty functional, but however, I should say, we couldn't be more different. So we went from this absolute merging of our souls to kind of having to deal with our personalities, which are extremely different. I mean, not only I'm white, he's black, I'm short, he's tall, I'm a woman, he's a man. In every possible aspect, we're different. I was raised in an academic kind of middle-class household. He was raised in a black Geechee Gullah family of huge family. I was in a tiny family. He was in a huge family with massive amount of love on the East Coast. An amazing family, but completely opposite cultural background, completely different, every possible thing. And we found as we worked together, for one of the first things we did, well, we made a couple babies that are exquisitely beautiful. That's one thing that happens in a Yanantin for sure, yeah. And we created a house together. And if he wanted white doors, I wanted black doors. If he wanted marble, I wanted tile. Everything that we thought would be cool was exactly the opposite. But we found out as we went through this construction process, our tastes totally different, everything completely different. But as we went through this process, we ended up with this beautiful house that we couldn't have built together alone. It would not have had this really wholeness to it that I think. And as we progressed in our relationship, we found that respect and patience. And I could not have more respect for this human being. It's not possible. So he's a king. He's a genius, and he knows how to do all the stuff I don't know how to do, and I'm blessed and honored to be with him. So, Barney, your turn.
Thank you. Well, I think where I should start is kind of describing our relationship and put it into a physical term. I think most of you have seen pictures of a fire engine, right? And if you've ever seen a fire engine with two parts, there's a front part and there's a back part, and you have the engineer on the front driving, and you have this guy that's sitting on the back part that's controlling the back part of the fire engine, right? And so it's almost like two steering wheels, one on the front and one on the back. Well, when anyone asks us about our relationship, this is how I describe it. She's on the front and she just got the horn blowing and she's going through the street as fast as she could, and she's taking these turns, and I'm in the back trying to keep it into the road. So this is kind of where we are, you know. That's the description of our relationship. Is she's the speed and I'm the control. So if you can vision that, you kind of get where our relationship has been. And speaking of we first met, as Elizabeth mentioned, I went on a cruise I was kind of like forced into this situation where I had friends at the time and I was very busy. I was starting a business and I would just focus on this business. And I didn't want anything else in my life at the time, but just building a business because I was self-employed. And I had these friends that said, you got to get out sometime. You got to do something else. And I was asked to go on this cruise. And I said, yeah, I don't have time for that. You know, I got other better things to do at my time. And they says, come on, you can take one night off and go out. And I said, no, you know, I'm not interested. They said, we'll buy the tickets and we'll drive. And I thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I should go out. Maybe I should experience something. But then I thought, wow, we're going to San Francisco. And at the time, I had a janitorial, commercial and janitorial business. And I was building that business in San Francisco. And actually, the club that we went to was a club that I was actually doing a bid on. And this was a Thursday night and one of the busiest nights in San Francisco for his party, because it's ladies' night, right? So everyone is out on the town. And I thought, wow, okay, I can go on this cruise and I can leave this cruise and I can go over to this, you know, club and I can do some work. I can eyeball it because I told them I was coming by and check things out, you know, at night when they're really busy, so I can get an idea how I can bid on this account. So anyway, to make it a long story short, we end up at this cruise. I saw Elizabeth for the first time when we were on the cruise, and it was like a shock, because it's like when I saw her, I felt like I saw someone I knew, but I didn't know her. And this thing really kind of had me wondering why do we have this connection going on? I don't know her. There's 1,000 people on this ship, And all of a sudden I'm attracted to this one person, not because, I'm looking for anybody to be with, but there was something else going on. And that curiosity just sucked me right in, right? And I just felt I would like to know more about her, but maybe I shouldn't. It was almost, I had this curiosity and this fear at the same time. So, but somehow we connected. We went to this, it was only the last 15 minutes of the cruise that we made any connection. We ended up at this club. We danced, we had a great time. And then, but this fear was still there that I'm not sure if I really want to be connected to this person. This is someone that I don't see anything that we have in common at all, other than this thing that I don't know about, this door that I may open and I don't know where it's going to lead to. So, and at the time in my life, I felt like I needed to be in control. I needed to be in total control. And the only way we were going to connect is I would have to relinquish some control. And that was scary at the time. So little by little, as I learned to release that control and get more understanding of who Elizabeth was, the comfort, I became more comfortable with being with her because the fear went away as I got to know her. And I realized that as different as we were, there was something that was connecting us. And that was the thing that was, I had to just live with that and say, well, this is it. This is what it is. I can't explain it, but I'm going to run with it. Right. So yeah, basically that's our relationship. And like she said, 23 years later, after 2 sons and moving around the world, and a farm and things are great. So I hear you, Cecilia. There's a lot of what you said was basically, I felt that way. It's like, I just kind of stuck with it and thought, well, this may be something here that I don't know about, but I have to trust. I think it was trust. That's the main word, is I had to trust the universe that this was my path. So that's where we are.
All right. Patience and humility.
Patience and humility.
And now we're going to pass the word over to Joan.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the Yanantins, the couples that are sharing their personal story. I'd like to make this personal for all of the people on YouTube listening. And these are Yanantins between couples. I would like to just speculate with you for a while about the Yanantins in the self. Because how you're harmonizing the dissimilarities within yourself is extremely important to how then you're mediating these Yanantins outside of yourself. As we said, a Yanantin, although it's maybe something unlike you, it's something that is indispensable. It's an aspect that is complementary. It's dialectical. Both aspects are necessary for the whole. So let's just take a few minutes to talk about some of the Yanantins within the self and what that might mean to how you're practicing as a Paco and living as a human being and mediating these Masintin and Yanantin relationships outside of you. So the first one, obviously, is very self-evident. It's that you're a physical being, a material being, and you're also a being of spirit and energy. Again, that may seem self-evident, but when you look at the world, there's a huge part of the world that doesn't see that Yanantin. For instance, many scientists, many medical personnel, they only see the physical self. And they're not even aware that there's this complementary aspect of the self that is energetic and spiritual. We have the Yanantin of the Wasi. The body, we have two bodies. We have our physical body and we have our pokpo, our energetic body, our bubble. Each has its own reality, its own, in a sense, anatomy, even its own metabolism. If you look at the pokpo as a body through which we move and tune and interchange energies, its anatomy with the nyawis. Juan said something to me once about our practice as Pacos. He said, we're growing a second body. This was the first time I really thought about this as a Yanantin, my physical body and my pokpo. We're growing a second body. And this is a process of awareness, of Aini interchange, consciousness, this putwi, this flowering, that just, you know, you have to take care of your physical body, but we have a pokpo that it needs just as much attention. There is the aspect of us that is Sami and Hucha. I think as long as we're human beings, we're going to produce some Hucha, but our Yanantin, how do we harmonize? Bring our consciousness to, actually work the dialectic that we want to be perfect absorbers of Sami that brings us well-being and joy and health of all kinds and in all measure, while still recognizing, and we do need to recognize this, we need to be conscious of that we're producing Hucha. How do we be the condor and take responsibility for eating our Hucha at the same time that we're the hummingbird and seeking every moment of every day, how can I be a bringer of Sami, the two natures of the self energetically. As a human being, we have our mind, body, and feelings, what I would call the soul. How we develop it as a human being, our experience, our beliefs, our ethnicity, all of those kinds of things that go into make us a human being in a culture, in a time. And then we have our Inca seed, which is the potential for our perfected self. And yet, again, we have to bring consciousness to this Yanantin nature, the puchwi, the flowering, the growing. It takes attention and care and work and awareness. All of this might fall under the Yanantin of our dual parentage, that we have a earthly and a cosmic parents, and we have our biological parents. We have Father Cosmos and Mother Earth. And they're no less our parents as our biological parents or our adoptive parents. That which supports us and nurtures us, teaches us, provides for us, can also be a challenge. So all of these kinds of Yanantins that are within us. In our human nature, we can even see other kinds of Yanantins. I think we have a solitary nature, and we have a pull to the communal, to relationship, to be nurtured and loved. We can't live without relationship, and yet we know we all need to have time for ourselves, to be with ourselves. I think this is a Yanantin that's under tremendous stress right now with COVID, because we're being pulled, we're being forced into a place of isolation and aloneness, maybe more than we're comfortable with. We're being denied the communal and the relational. That's a Yanantin. To be healthy, we need both. So you might look at this Yanantin in your life right now and see if there's dissonance there, and how you can then attend to the imbalance toward the solitary and the isolated. Certainly we have lots of options like we're doing today through cyberspace, okay? Another part of our human nature I see as a Yanantin is that we have a persona. We have a kind of a mask. We have a public-facing sense of self, a public-facing identity. And then we have our, again, our Inca seed, our actual self. This is a Yanantin to harmonize. This is Kanai, to know who you really are, and then to be able to live as who you really are, rather than living the mask, to find the hapu that allows you to live the real self, the whole self. We have the conscious and unconscious. And our unconscious is a huge part of this Yanantin, because a lot of us are driven by our shadow, the unconscious aspects of ourselves, unconscious needs, desires, beliefs, and so forth. This is affecting our Aini, which is our very interchange with the world and others. And so I believe doing shadow work, for instance, is incredibly important and is a beautiful complement in and of itself with the work that we're doing as Pacos, which is a path of conscious evolution. And so bringing our conscious and unconscious into some kind of a complementary state, so that, because in our unconscious and our shadow is not just those parts of ourselves that we deny, that we deflect, that we hide from ourselves, but our capacities, our gifts, those things that our Inca seed is there to flourish, our full potential. So there's a lot of gifts. The gold is in the dark, a lot of gold there as well. I think one last Yanantin I'll mention is the pacha of your personal past and the pacha of your potential future. We, as you know, we have 6 eyes, 6 nyawis looking at our past. We can become very imbalanced in this Yanantin and be focused on our past, especially if we've had a traumatic or challenging past. This is the path of knowledge. We have the potential future, which is, we have 1 eye looking at, the path of our potential. But the Yanantin, the hapu of that, is the now, is the present. It's the very condition of your life right now.
Joan, that's perfect. What a perfect place to stop. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we need to keep moving
yes,
along.
I know we're out of time, so I just would like to end by...
Thank you so much for making that so practical.
May I just have one more second to just remind all of you listening that this is an inner path and an outer path, and that in itself is a Yanantin as well. So work them both. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Freddie, over to you.
I'm ready. Okay, so it's a time for our Kero brothers and sisters to speak. Ewe kapanaykuna uyari washankichishu. Microphone kichista papa kicharits.
Ari uyari shay ko wait.
Okay. Anke
if they want to do the blessing first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Wakapanaykunan nispaka paykunaka sumakta yanantimanta munaita rimaysharanku riki anke wayqinchis Iván, Cecilia chemanta, Elizabeth Barney chemanta pananchi Juan munaychata yanantimanta rimaysharanku wayqin nispaka noqanchisqa qallarirunchis saminchakuywan wayqaya lipichanchis papaya saminchakuyta rursunchis chaymanta noqanchispas rimananchis yanantimanta wayqin nispaka Callarachis wayqay saminchakuy primero. Lipichanchis Lorenzo, Zenobia, lipichanchis wayqay saminchakuy mahaykursunchis. Callarich pacha wayqay. So they are starting with the blessings. If you have your ritualistic mishas, or we can cooperate with them. Thank you. This was the wonderful ceremony in which they invoked the power of the sacred mountains, the shepherds of the Cusco city and the shepherds of the Kero nation, done by our brothers and sisters from Keros. The usage of the bells and all these ritualistic items was so wonderful. Right. Waykay Qallariyursunchis, waykay Ricardo Rositawan. Ya kankunapas wayqapanaykuna ankhayna riki wayqapananchis rimayranku yanantinmanta kankunapas kankunaqmanta yanantinkichismanta rimanaykichis waykay atisqalaykichis hinallata waykaya. Nispaqa waykay nuqa t'ijirayrusaq qallarinki mama Rosita, rimay mama. Microfonaykita kichay papa Ricardo. Manan uyarishaykichischu waykay. Ahora sí waykay. Nispaqa allimi papa nispaqa kankunapas uyarirankichishchu kankuna papa yanantimanta. Ahora sí papa. Sutikita maymanta hamunki chaykunata waykay.
Ya. Bueno, voy a te poner con año para permitir para paiguita chachimusa, la payan y testimonio de Pacomasi Kunapa, voy a Juan Hatu, Pacomasi, Iván, su madre Elizabeth, y la payan Pacomasi Kuna, y oraste, Cancuna Pacacho, Ave María Purísima. No paso tiene Ricardo Apasa Flores, Erusman Tacane, Mariano Apasa Juan, aquí Papua Chupe. Yo iré ese año que es, no van para que visto que son que mandar, que tal que ha hecho alentar. Con la remarcación es que Yanantin, Masentin, causa de manda. Bueno, no hay causa único y Yanantin, Masentin. Pero me toca ver si me acuerdo. Si mandata, Zulata, Saita, chico, Zulata una hina. mamatay ko, si Manhin, mana nyo kay ko pa, gastay ko universidad, gastao ko pia training, imay na rin, instama hinat, pia ko. Aswampis, nukay ko, mana chile, pia ko, tindon nukay ko, imay na, mamatay ko, ulawar ang kung sinama hinadya, nukay ko mampis, kausay pachata, yachachuan ko tayo mamay ko. Sina hinadya nukay ko pis, Yanantin masintin, kapariti ko po, sila kausay yat. Primero pa, nukay ko hupe, kausay ko animalon, chafraon. Tiray ko, nukay ko, primero kausanay ko, paknikunay ko, chafraronay. Nukay ko, Yanantin masin iskaya, nukay ko hupe, entonces, kahit mamapis niya, sa pakman niya, kapawan ko, nukay ko pa, kausanay ko, chafraronay ko, aparte. Si Mantada, Pisimanta Pese, kahit ang mama kanya, akawan ko niya animal kan, iskela niya ka-temps. Chita, uiwas pa, mirachinay ko. Entonces, nukay ko tukuisong ko, animanay ko pa, si animal tapis, kakariti ko. Sumakta, puris pa, Pacha mama haywarikos pa, apun si mama haywarikos pa. Chiwan takau say chiray. Chimanta kamera sama hinaka. Nukay ko pes si anumami ko. Si pe wait makang. Hindi ko na ko pamay ko yung astay ko pe kalanta. Imadya pes salanay ko pa. Chiwan ka sanay ko pa. Antimanta. Kawat takin sawata niya waway ko pa paring. Nukay ko pes imay na chos kay tanamay ko uyawar ko aknaretata. Waway ko mampes ya chachilay ko. Aknang nukay ko kausay ni. Takunang ka nukay ko ya kipos ko pinawagin katiyay ko cheta niya ki dakta pilita waway ko man eskwela man turay. Nukay ko ta mana eskwela man eskwela ang ko hasta tiempo con ni kahit mamay ko ni letratas siya cha. Kung nampes ni sa rosta pues mama ni choda letratas ya chanjo. Yung kaso pesi-pesi ta ya chan. Nanti nanu kau mukay kau sani. Tidak lah cakap oleh free sekali belum kita awal itu semua pas ya pada. Nanti dia isong boleh ya paling tak master juga kan.
First of all, I want to welcome to all Pacos around the world, especially to our master, great Master Juan, who is present in this ceremony. With the permit of Ave Maria Purissima, my name is Ricardo Apasa. I am the son of Mariano. And as you know, you knew to my parents, most of you knew to my parents, I mean to my father, Mariano Apasa, and to myself. And I hope we are going to enjoy of this beautiful afternoon. Now it's my time to speak about Yanantin. First of all, always starts when we know each other. We know that the aim of knowing each other is to arrive to the unity, to the oneness, to be only one. You know, perhaps our experience is a little bit different than yours because in Kero happens in a different way. We don't have any academic wisdom. We don't have schools. Everything just occurs due the experience that we learned from our parents. We take the Yanantin and Masintin. The first thing that we do in our community, it is to perform Yanantin with nature because we are farmers and we are animal raisers. See? The first thing that we need to do, it is this, and then slow by slow, we have to go through our Yanantin process. The first thing we need to establish is our economy, in which our parents will help us when they perform the Yanantin with us as well, because they are going to give us the seed. They are going to give us from their amount of sheep or alpaca. We will have like 2. This is going to start for us for making a foundation for our house. Always with the permission and blessings of Apus and Pachamama. We take advantage of everything that Mother Nature gives to us, and with it, we are going to go further until our children comes. We start knowing each other. We are always in this pathway of knowing each other. You know, with this we can feed into our families, to our children. So, and then we start teaching about Yanantin to our children as well, where we are, or when we are in Keros, or all those who comes to Cusco to live, then we start also teaching to our children by sending to a school, okay? So this is the process of us in Yanantin, okay? We always go first with nature, and then we go with our partners. As far this is, I would like to speak, though. It'll be the time for Rosita. Rosita Panay, Kagnyatag mama, imas kampag Yanantin, mami linda, Panay, yachas kalayki manjina mama, rimay pacha.
Buenas tardes. Somos tremendas que ustedes.
Chica chanta mama manang uyarishayki chumami linda. Ahora sí vamos.
Yanantin masentin kawsayku ena sumaqta. Riqsinakuyku rurasqani. Uywata michista kuyrasqa kawsayta ruwasqa kiqrata ruwasqa. Chayantaq wawakunawan kayku. Imaynatachus tayta mamayku uywanku aynan kawsayku. Kaqlla enseñarayku. Gracias, Silvia, por atenderme.
Okay. So Rosita welcomes to everybody in this afternoon. Says buenas tardes. So for her, Yanantin, it is the practice of communication. It is to live well and know each other much better day to day. In our life, it is, you know, like live well organized with our animals, with our fields, doing a great kausai in the family. We do Yanantin always with the example and teachings of our parents, which as Aini, we have to reciprocate this with our children. So this is what Rosita spoke about Aini. About Yanantin. Nispaka kunam papa Juancito, Mónica, kankunañataq papa rimanaykichis, oqchikanta presentakamunaykichis, chaymanta papa Yanantinmanta rimallaychistaq, wayqay, ya papa qallari pacha nispaka.
Bueno, Guaytepanaycuna, ñoqapas hatun apaykunita chimsaykichis llapallaykichista primeramente hatun kura Paco, Juan, hinallata Kumari Ilsa Bis, hinallata llapayan Paco Masikuna llapaykunawan. Kunan puncha allen puncha llapanchista kacha. Ñoqapas imayna que causai pacha karan o el tiempo imanta pacha cheta ñoqapas qankunama y willarim paykichis chayqa llapanchispa sumaq kanama. Bueno, que causai pachaqa nisqanchis hina el tiempunchimanta hamillaman tukuspaqa huk sunqulla causanchis causayku en campopiqa en cambio animalta cuiraspa chakrata ruaspa causapuyku mana kanchu ima estudios tanto llaqtaykupiqa manataqmi karanchu antisqa manan uskaranchu manan postapis uskaranchu manan teléfono karanchu llapa mana imapis kanchu. Entonces ñuqayku kawsayku chakrata ruaspa alpacata cuidaspa alpaca willmachan kan wintinapa chay rantiq hamuqmi chayman wintikuyku chay aprovechaypa pero llaqtatara hamuyku chay puncha puriymi antes karqan llaqtaman. Entonces chaypi chaymantara hapakayku arrozcha, azucarcha, cachicha, mikhunaykupa upyanaykupaq. Chayqa sasa kawsay ñuqaykupaq karqa sasa chakiykuni karan ñuqaykupaq kawsayninkupa pachapi. Chaymanta poco a poco asway ima carterapis sirkanchan llapa imapis kunanqa ña sirkanchashani carterapis chayqa fácil kawsayani kunamanta kashan. Hinallata primero ñuqayku familia ukupi allinta kawsanayku. Chaymantara wawayku kaqtinpis allinta kawsaspa wawaykutapis explicayku allin kawsanallankupaqta según hatun chawmanta kasqama hina. Hinallata allinta kawsayku chayqa comunidades llapan comunidades huk autoridades qhawariwanku. Según imaynachus comunero manan comunidades qhawarinmanchu huk mana chanin runataqa autoridadespa sitios allin runa kaqtinqa aqllanku. Entonces ñuqapas ña iskay kinsata autoridadesta ruwaspaña kikusquma hamurani imarayku wawaykuna estudianarayku en campopi mana ancha allinchu estudio kasqanrayku chayqa chaymanhinakunaki wawaykuna ña más bien asway pachamamaq munayninpi llapan apakunaq munayninpi wakin kaqqa ña tukupushaña estudiota chayqa estudiowanqa kawsanqaku chariki paykunapas mana chariki umanmanta lluqsinqachu mana wayrapis pichunqachu mana imapis pichunqachu yachayninqaqari. Entonces chayrayku ñuqapas kusisqa kashani ñacha paykuna estudio kaqtinqa imayllapipis llaqtapakunqaña. Bueno, chaymantapa según yuyayniykuman hina yachachiwaranku tayta mamayku campopiqa pachamamapaq aywarikuyta. Chayqa chay pachamamapaq aywarikushpa chakra terwakuiku animal te cuidaiku que Pachamama quis apon sukunapa si anapawanku pero hoy grupas cascamos en allá tan chakra león todo su mamá roro un chica contento con grupos Shaiko hasta con angamapes en allá actualmente con angallapanchis que picasanchis pakumas tuna ununastan Tafiata ya con anga sapangaikunya iteko Pachamama ta imainakachus wahana imainakachus aywarina chika nukaiko aywarispaiko tomasta uyariwan Pachamama pues inayata white panas kunapah pues ya partik semua white panas kunapah pues tomasta aywarina chika ya pagantistos tomasta ya na pawasun stay panjawasun ya Pachamama kunapah. Bueno, chega todas no capaz William Tuinita causa y manta sitio está por cuidar aswaita ya paisunches está por cuidar aswaita sotinja isunches chega tara de mai musa português son colai
Okay, my brothers and sisters, I send my greetings to all of you by being present in the ceremony, and to send great greetings to Hatun Paco, Juan, Elizabeth, and all those who are present in this place. Great welcome to all of you. Yanantin. The performing Yanantin for them, it is this beautiful thing in which you lead your family, which needs to also impact with the society. This is what we did in Kero, right? Well, in Kero we don't have road. We didn't have road when in my times. We didn't have electricity, no telephone, no nothing. So we needed to live up to our field and taking care of our alpacas. This was very far to arrive to take some rice and sugar. Well, the life was very, very hard, but that didn't really stop the process of Yanantin. So what we needed to do, it is to teach to our children as a couple, as a mom and dad, you know, how to deal with it, because this is what we learned also from our parents. This is what we did as Yanantin. According to your age, we are going to teach to them, you know, how to solve things. Yeah, and it is why, you know, when you achieve all those things, also the society, your community will follow that. Okay, and then if you are a great man and a great woman, if you are a great couple, then you are going to be a potential candidate to be a leader of the community. So as a lot of people has been, and also, you know, I was a leader of my community 2 times as well. Now, my Yanantin, I took to the city because I wanted to be part of another society outside of Eros. Now I'm living in Cusco. As Yanantin, as a wife and husband, we are working in terms that our children, you know, will get academic studies, they will go to the university, and this is what they are doing right now. Okay, we were doing it, and that makes me happy. And I hope as a sacred reciprocity, or Aini, my children also will respond to all these sacrifices that we do as Yanantin as well, all right? Everything is happening in our life, it's making us very happy. But this is also because we go always with Pachamama, because always we offer to Pachamama. We always do our Haiwariku, our despachos, in order that Pachamama also will realize all those dreams that we have in mind. So this is all what I would like to speak so far. Thank you very much. Mama Monica, mispaka mama, kanyatak mama, yananting man tarimanki mama, ya? Imas kampak yananting, kosanting, senyoranting tiyay. Kayari Pachamama nispak.
Nyanyi ikuna, tora ikuna, ya pale ikisum, aurat sema nyanyi ikuna, tora ikuna, ya pale ikisum. No paso ti, mi moni ya pescure. Una imemo, pues no ka, ina at paleta, no tenemos. Manda. Ya usted manda dinero. Ine, ya no dimasen de cómo causa cuya. Cómo causa cuya, ya no dimasen de cómo está. Porque si no vale a na causa cuya, no va a ir con una copa. Y ahí si manda, pues si manda, pues sí, no va a ir con piazo, pues arma que mi hija tara, todo así. Ya tara, todo así, con mi hija copa. No ya está, hoy va a tara. Animal tara, hoy va a tara. Mira chica, chico, oye man, ishke manta. Oye ita baba ito manta ito taiwan oye ishke ita anji man kachki. Kasara kunai kwa si oye watara kachiko. Mi filtara kachiko ay na chi mantara kasara piko. Iman kasara kusai kuma kasa piko. Wawa ito tap ina kuma oye wapi ito mita ito. Man imo wating kong hinagi. Mato akadako kusai kuma kasa piko. Oiwa ikutas na porikus pa. Pacha mama tuna ma ingaris sa poriki ko ahyarikus pacha mama pacha tira tuna ta. Ahyarikus pa. Amma ta oiwa ta kachiki no pai ko mikita kachiki. Pacha mama tuna ma ingargas pa. Kampu ke tamana hampiwan imawan kachiki. Papa ta ima mikita ima. Awanuan, juanuan, imat uwano, anumani kutu, juanu, antahia, angkati, mikita, papatat, imat, ukau sasat, lapan kati, ciwan, cimat, armat pot, kasaraku, ayana, kau satu nufai kutumata, Yanantin masinti, walata China, orku China, kau satu nufai kutumata, minti, tumak kau sai, tumak polisi. Tatum aina tan no pai kau itu. Nalata no pai tu parsin di iskeni tu aina pacang apa sayur itu. Isi pacama pas nalata oiwa pas anu pas. Nalata Kero masih Jawa mungkin ya semua yang wakatiwan di baik naik asma ya ki untuk kami dengan si asli yang apa lagi ku ain lagi ku ain kia ki asma yang tiga ki yang kau kai pati ki kata cari maini nyanyi itu rai jadi mungkin mulai itu nyanyi itu
My brothers and sisters, with the permit of Ave Maria Purissima, I will speak about Yanantin, and I will speak only what I understand and what I can. Yanantin Masintin, it is the great living. It is this essence that also Mother Nature lives through the teachings of the birds and the Wallata. The Wallata is the Andean geese, which experience is when they have their partner, they never ever find another since one of them dies. So this is a consideration of Monica because for her, Yanantin, it is this great energy and teachings that comes by nature, by instance, the Wallata. Always keep that essence. You don't let it go. And you have to find a future for that. You know, when we start together, okay, the goal for us, it is always to arrive to the matrimonial, which is the wedding. We have to keep, in order to arrive to this, we have to always walk with your partner, fixing and facing difficulties, asking the power of Pachamama. asking the strength and the wisdom of Pachamama. And of course, also putting from ourselves, because this is also a power that you need to put from yourself as a couple. This is what the teachings and wisdom of Mother Nature. Since they put us as two, as pairs, you know, we have to finish as pair, as two. We have to help each other. We have to do the aininakui each other. We have to help each other in order to grow in this aspect, which is Yanantin. And of course, you know, weave all this and arrive to the Kausai Pacha. This is all what I would like to speak. Thank you. Papa Lorenzo, Chaybanta, Mama Zenobia. Kankunañataq mama wayqipanaykuna rimanaykichis ankay sumaq yanantinmanta. Nispaqa qallaritz.
Ready? We have to be a little quick because we're way over time.
All right. Okay. Nispaqa papa atisqalayki hina manam nishularguñachu kanan wayqay imas qampaq huch'uyllallapi.
Entonces, actualmente nosotros wayqikuna panaykuna panay sabes yinques wayqi barni hinallataq llipin paqumasikunapas kachun nosotros napaykumaykichis tukuy sunquywan buenas tardes wayqi panaykuna. Y kay yanantin kawsaymanta kuna rimashanchis. Yanantin kawsayqa hasta la paqarimun machuluykumanta awuluykumanta. Chaymi nuqaykupis hasta kunankama hasta wawaykupaqpis kay rimaytaqa yachachishayku. Yanantin kawsay nishu sumaq. Warmi qhari rimaynakuspa maytapis purinapaq, chakratapas ruwanapaq, uywatapis michinapaq, pachamanchisman haywarikuypipis yanantin mas allin. Apunchisman haywarikuypis yanantin mas allin. Chaymi machuluyku awuluyku aqnatapuna hasta papayku mamaykupas yanantin kawsaymanta rimarqanku. Nishu sumaq kawsay. Manan mana chiqninakuspa, mana runkanakuspa, pero kan a veces runkanakuypis, chiqninakuypis, chaymantaqa sumaq aychapunalla. Entonces, yanantin kawsay ancha nuqayku comunirupi, comunidades ayllu qeros, llaqtapi, yanantin kawsaymi nishu sumaq, rimaynakuspa. A ver, kanmi yanantin kawsay, iskay, ¿no es cierto? Warmi qhari. Es papapis, semillapis, manan ch'ullachillaqa, allintachu wiñarin tarpuspa. Iskaycha kinsawanpuni tarpuyku, ¿no? Chaqtaqmi kallantaq pachamamanchispis yanantin, apunchispis yanantin. Hasta animalkunapis yanantin, hasta espíritu chakunapianpis yanantin. Mana yanantin kawsay kaqtin, mana runa miraswanchu. Masillantin kawsasunman hinaka. Masintin qhari masintin. Chaqtaq warmipis masintin, warmi masintin. Aqna kawsay kaqtin mana mirasunmanchu. Chayraykun nuqanchis runapis miranchis, ashkakanchis, kaqtaqmi animalkunapis miran yanantin kawsaypi, kaqtaqmi espiritukunapis yanantin kawsaypi kanku. Chaymi hasta la rimay, hasta machuluykumanta, awuluykumanta. Kay rimayqa karan hasta comuniruyku uhupi, hasta papayku mantayku ankinatapuni rimaqku. Chayqa haywarikuypis yanantin. Pachamanchisman haywarikuypis, apunchisman haywarikuypis. Gracias, sillataraqcha rimasya, tal vez sea corto, ¿no? Sillataraq rimay rimuni. Gracias, wayqillay, Freddy.
From the depth of my heart, I welcome to all of you in this ceremony, to all our presence here. Well, Yanantin, it is the wisdom from our ancestors, which we transport to our generation and needed to be transported for the future generations. This is a communication amongst men and women. You know, this is to harmonize and break any kind of disagreement and bring harmony. Yeah, this is a wisdom which in my community, Keros, also we perform as a man and a woman. This is what happens not only with humans, that happens also including the seeds. When you plant the potato, put to Pachamama, you put in pairs, you put as a masculine and feminine. That happens also with the plants, with the animals. Yanantin symbolizes fertility and reproduction. And this is a wisdom that comes from our ancestors. Yeah. Also, the despachos, the Haiwarikui, it is Yanantin you give for Pachamama and the Apus. Thank you very much. Mama Zenobia, Anchainaliata Mama, Campas, Rimay Pachamama, Zenobia.
Ñaña Elizabeth Ingis, Mukawambas, buenas tardes, Cachum, Kiurasti. Mukapas Yanantin Masintin Mantañañay, rimaremos a Kiurasti. Yanantin Masintin Camp Mai Sumas Causei, Munanakui, Sumas Causei, Sumas Puri. Mukastis Hakaitim Manta Pachan Aula Chihuahua Causei, Alata Ricucho, Eminatas Causana, Mainatas Pachamama Swamp Causana, Mainatas Apons Kunawan Causana, Yapanchis, Mai Sumas Causananchis. Yanantin Masintin Munanakuchunchis, Yanantin Masintin Pachamamas Mahaivarikuchunchis, Apons Kunaman Haivarikuchunchis, Chi Mai Sumasta Pachamamanchis, Chashki Quashunchis, Yanantin Masintin Haivarikuchunchis. Hinakatorei, Kajatas, Yanantin Masintin Yapan Ganchis, Apunchis, Yanantin, Pachamamanchis, one Yanantin, Mama Killanchis, Yanantin, Taita Intinchis, Mama Killanchis, Yanantin. Ashkamamanchis, Puluninchis one, Ishkininku Yanantin. Yanantin Kamayapanchis Nene, Torei Kashanchis, Konanka, Mai Sumachtan Kausanku Paikunatis Poparachinapupa, Unjaitis Taita Intinchis Anjarinampas, Mama Killanchis Totatis Anjarinam. Mai Sumachta, Chinayatak Nukanchis, Mai Sumachta Tukuisun Kunting, Tukuyuayenting. Kajatas Nukatos Tukuy Sunku, Esposita Monacone, Mais Masta Causeico, Pachamamanchis Monachino Kaiku, Pesuntanaiku, Mais Masta Puririco, Pachamamanchis Manhaiwari Paiku, Mais Masta Agradiscus Paiku Ture, Gracias, Killa Tarafimeico.
Good afternoon to everybody, Elizabeth, and everybody who's present in the ceremony. Yeah, Yanantin is Sumak Kausai. You know, it's great. It's a very nice Kausai. This comes from teachings of our ancestors. All I remember from Yanantin, Masintin, it is these teachings that my grandparents gave it to me. You know, by teaching me what's the love of Mother Nature that gave it to us. You know, by feeling everything happens in Mother Nature. I saw that and I got all this experience. And we said that, you know, this is Yanantin. This is whatever you receive, this very nice love is what you need to perform within your family as well. Yeah. So this is what we need to build, you know, with this energy, with this very nice power nectar that we receive from Mother Nature. So as the Apu lives with Pachamama, so as the sun lives with the moon. Yeah. It's what is the love when the sun gives lights to Pachamama. This is how I understand what is Yanantin. This is why, from my side, I do all my best in order that my husband will be loved. And I hope he will do himself in order that I will be loved as well. So this is the sacred reciprocity. This is how we try to live, and we try to build a nice pathway in our future as Yanantin. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you for those translations, Freddie. I think let's go ahead and go to our meditation. And then since we don't have the dance, because everyone in Cusco is inside the quarantine and they can't share the dance with us, sadly. Let's do the Yanantin blessing at the very end to close. Is that okay? Good.
It is okay, but they have their flute and they want to perform just a little tune for finishing instead of the dance. Yeah, if it's allowed.
Let's do that at the end, Freddie. At the
Right,
end,
perfect.
after we do the meditation. Okay. Okay.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. So so we're going to go to our ops now, which is our ops, our global ops, our meditation together, our Paco work together to join ourselves and work with the living energy of the Kausai Pacha to help the global situation, which right now I think we can all agree, for the world to suddenly understand and live Yanantin would solve a lot of problems that are happening right now on the planet. So we're going to do this meditation together, do this energetic exercise together to make our contribution as Pacos to help this process. Okay? All right. So maybe we can mute all the other mics, and I'm going to ask you guys to sit down, sit comfortably in your chair, find a good spot. You can have your eyes open or closed and take a moment to take a nice deep breath and allow your attention to turn inward. And let's take in these beautiful words we just heard about Yanantin, Masintin with Mother Nature. And let's make a beautiful aini with the trees and the plants, all that produce oxygen for us with so much love. Let's drink in their delicious sami along with this oxygen. And let's exhale our love along with our carbon dioxide. And return that gift in that life-giving cycle of aini between humans and nature. And now let's bring our attention to our energy bubble and notice everything around us made of living energy. Let's open the top of our bubble and receive the delicious sami of the cosmos, from all of the massive galaxies and stars and supernovas and nebulae and black holes. Let's drink in this finest living energy of the cosmos to refresh our beings, refresh our bubbles. And opening the bottom of our bubble with our intention, let's offer with all our love any huchas that are ready to flow out naturally, organically, flowing into Pachamama. That she receives with so much love and grace. And as you make your gift to her, thanking her for everything that we have that comes from her. And as the outflow subsides, we receive. We gain the right to receive by having given. And we receive the delicious nectar of the earth, drinking it into ourselves and filling ourselves with the earth nectar. And adding our munai in a beautiful column of energy that we create and we make flow back to the cosmos. And through our own bubbles, we can experience this beautiful Yanantin of Father Cosmos, Mother Earth. And now we can reach out if you want with your left hand and call. Offer this beautiful living energy to your Pacarina, to your Mother Water. It can be the Mother Water of your birthplace or where you are right now. Call to your Mother Water to come in and fill your bubble with her delicious, refreshing nectar. Enjoy this and reach out with your left hand and offer to your Sayua Apu, your Itu Apu, your Father Mountain, and receive the wonderful stability, the power of your Itu Apu. Receive into your bubble. And using our Munai, we are going to integrate this second Yanantin and offer this living energy to our guiding star. The Yanantin of our Pacarina, our Mother Water, and our Father Mountain. And offer this deliciousness to our guiding star. And again, with the sacred reciprocity, receiving the living energy of our guiding star. Drink it in and let it flow through our bubble and offer to the Uhupacha, to our ancestors. Letting the living energy of our guiding star flow through us and flow to our ancestors. And receiving the response back, the beneficial wind from our ancestors in the Uhupacha. Let's drink this in and enjoy this fantastic Tawantin power bubble. All right, and let's extend the Sami of our Tawantin bubble to anyone that we would normally consider not me. Offer to the person that challenges you most. Your worst enemy could be Boris Johnson, could be Donald Trump, could be our mother-in-law, could be the crazy uncle. Doesn't matter. But choose the one, the biggest challenge for you personally, and offer Sami to that, to their bubble. Could be your mother or your father. Could be your neighbor. Keep offering Sami until you make take, until you feel your bubbles join together with your biggest challenge. Now take that person, those people with you as you extend your Tawantin bubble and offer this power to the Mother Water through your tail eye. Drink in the vilka into our tail. And let's weave our black belt. And as we drink the vilka, we extend and expand our black belt to connect through the living waters of the planet with all the other Pacos across the planet that are with us right now on this call, joining together through the living water of the planet. And together we weave our collective black belt, bringing the nectar across the planet. Taking with us our biggest challenge. We're going to open our belly eye and connect to Pachamama, offering and receiving her red nectar, weaving our red belt and expanding across the globe to touch the Pachamamas of all the other Pacos on this call right now, weaving our collective Pukachumpi, our red belt, together, feeling the strength and stability and joining across the globe. And now we go to our heart eye, opening like a flower to the sun, offering and receiving the delicious golden nectar of Inti Taita. Together, we weave our golden belt, and with the power of Inti, we expand our golden belt across the globe, connecting our hearts with all the other Pacos across the world into one heart. And we extend this golden Sami, golden nectar, to our greatest enemies, to the ones we think of as other. Extending this love, making Yanantin with this difference. We open our throat eye, connect to the wind, moon, stars, offering and receiving the silver nectar. Drinking this nectar, we expand our throats, weaving our silver belt and expand this belt across the globe, along the winds of the world, to connect to our brothers and sisters with one voice. And now let's use our collective Cusco to eat and digest all of the Nyasawaira, all of the collective huchas that keep us from remembering and behaving in the way that we know we belong to each other, everyone without exception, and that we all belong to Pachamama. Let's experience our uniqueness and how the collection of our unique drops forms the ocean of our humanity together. No one is excluded. And finally, let's call the Texenyustas and ask them to help us realize and enact the new codes of human behavior that will lead us to a new world of harmony, of difference. And let's offer our collective Tawantin power to Miskayani and Paititi, and call forth the Nyustas that can imprint this energetic seal on the world. harmony of difference. And as we slowly release our collective bubble, let's bring this vision, this healing, and this living energy back into our country, into our city, into our personal Pachamama, our home, and our family, and into our own body, and ask it to permanently reside within us and without us. Thank you.
Haile Pachamama. Haile Pachamama.
All right, if you have your offerings, if you made an offering, or if you have your Misha, this is time to bring it, and we will receive the Yanantin blessing of our Kero brothers and sisters. And at the end with some music from them, yeah? We can't hear you, Freddie.
Waqapanaykunan nispaqa uqmantaraq papa kasama saminchakuyta rurarishunchis llipichata qsimuyupaq. Waqay llipichanchis chayta rurarishunchis mesankuta llipichanku hapishankuna nispaqa qallarishunchis. Saminchakuyta tukuspaqa sichus qankuna lawtaykichis kashan chayqa ya tukusunchis musikacha ya. Ya waqay nispacha nispa qallarishunchis waqay. Ojalá pacha.
Señor, Viracocha, Taitacha, milagros, hampuy, hampuy, no caico human. Señora Mamacha de la nube, hampuichis, hampuichis, yanantinguita, huayco, ayhuarihuayco chay saminta, yanantin saminta. Hampuy, hampuy, no caico human, hampuichis, hampuichis, hampuichis.
Yanantin kawsay, sumaq kawsay, munay kawsay. Apo, sangate po mamita.
Sumaq papi kunanqa lawtarishunchis waqay sichus qallarisun pacha waqay. Inkuna pacha.
Lawatayta primero tukalita.
Ya, Ya, Juancito, callarilla ve kay. A ver, May, ahorita que hacen Ricardo.
Chai Songoriai. Over to you, Kero.
Urpichay son collay.
Pilay, son pilay, wey pilay.
Pananchis kama pakomasikuna.
Tu pananchis kama pakomasilay, hatun wayke.
Atong kurahwaike.
Thank you, Juan, for that beautiful blessing of the Lord and the lady. Thank you.
We were forgetting of them.
It's perfect. Carol has some final words for us.
So we hope you've enjoyed today's festival, the last one of this year. While 2020 has certainly brought its challenges, the amazing opportunity to come together as an international IU has truly been a blessing. A special thanks to those who have returned the INI by giving to the Kero Families Fund, and the next few months may continue to be difficult, but with our help, our Kero brothers and sisters will continue to receive basic necessities and food to thrive. Please know that every little bit helps, and we welcome your ongoing support. We will be in touch to share news about upcoming events, especially Global Paco Ops, which take place on every new and full moon. And as always, we do hope you continue to share in our Facebook group.
I just want to say a special thank you to Freddie and Ricardo, who have gathered all the names of all the families up in Kero that are needing help. And we've been able to gather enough funds to purchase almost 80 pounds of food and supplies for 200 families in Kero that we will be sending up on Wednesday.
Great.
Great. Thank you.
Beautiful.
And let me say that Juan and Yvonne next weekend are going to do a special workshop on offerings. On
Exactly. We are going to be teaching about the despacho, the fundaments and the training of despachos, how to make your own despachos, but also some more explanations in deep. So everybody is invited next Saturday.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. Deb, our beautiful BBC voice, Paco voice. Paco voice. Thank you, Carol, for all the technical support. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Turay nyanyay. Kuna. Purpichay songkoy.
Pilay, son pilay, wey pilay, panalay, wey pilay, barangay.
Yes. Thank you, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Pananchis kama.
Pananchis kama.
Wey pilay lang.
Joy.
Bye.
Okay.